They say time heals everything. But what if it doesn't? What if time just teaches you how to hide the pain better? Behind a smile, a new routine, or a heavier set at the gym? Most people think men move on fast after a breakup, that we just shut down our emotions and keep going. But the truth? Sometimes we don't move on at all. We just get good at pretending we did. I remember one of my closest friends. Solid guy, the kind everyone thought had it all together. When his long-term relationship ended, he didn't say a word. No breakdowns, no late-night calls, just silence, and an even harder work ethic. It looked like he was fine, but I've learned silence doesn't mean peace. Sometimes it means the war is still going on inside. It's strange how men are taught to deal with pain, not by feeling it, but by burying it. From a young age, we hear it: be tough, don't cry, move on. So that's exactly what we do. We turn heartbreak into workouts, pain into ambition, and silence into armor. You'll see him posting gym selfies, laughing with friends, working late nights, and you'll think he's doing great. But inside, it's chaos. Every set at the gym isn't just about strength, it's about control. Because when everything inside feels broken, the weights are the only thing that listens. He becomes sharper at work, quieter around friends, harder to read, and everyone around him believes he's winning, when in reality, he's just trying not to collapse. The mask of strength looks impressive, but it's heavy, and sooner or later, it cracks. He was the kind of guy everyone respected. Strong, loyal, steady, the type you'd call when your world was falling apart. But when his own world crashed, he didn't call anyone. After his breakup, he never said her name again. No rants, no late-night messages, just silence. He filled every empty space with noise: gym music, long hours, pointless plans. He convinced everyone, including himself, that he was fine. And for a while, I believed it too. But sometimes, when I caught him staring off mid-conversation, I could see it, that flicker of something behind his eyes. Grief doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just sits there, quietly, waiting to be felt. Months turned into years, and he built a life that looked perfect from the outside. But pain has a way of surviving. It hides under the surface, waiting for the smallest crack to escape. And one day, it did. It happened on a random Tuesday night. We were driving home, just talking about work, music, the usual small talk. The car was quiet, except for the hum of the engine and an old song playing softly in the background. Then, out of nowhere, he went silent. His hands gripped the steering wheel tighter, and I could see his jaw clench. I thought maybe he was just lost in thought. But then his breathing changed. Slow, shaky, like he was holding something back. And suddenly, it all broke. He pulled over, turned off the engine, and just sat there, staring ahead, eyes glassy. Then it started. Quiet at first, then louder. Years of swallowed pain pouring out all at once. No words, no explanations, just raw emotion, the kind he'd been hiding behind a smile for years. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat with him. Because sometimes silence says more than advice ever could. After a while, I told him, "Let's get out of here." We walked into the woods nearby, no people, no lights, no noise. And for the first time, he let it out. Everything. The anger, the sadness, the memories he tried so hard to bury. And in that moment, I realized something. He didn't need to be fixed. He just needed permission to feel. That night changed how I saw everything. It made me realize something most people never talk about. Men rarely get closure. When a relationship ends, everyone tells them the same thing. Focus on yourself. Stay busy. You'll be fine. But no one tells them how to process the grief. So they don't. Instead, they rebuild. Not from healing, but from hiding. They throw themselves into work, chasing goals, new hobbies, or new faces. Anything to fill the silence. And the world praises them for it. He's doing great, they say. But they don't see the sleepless nights, the quiet scrolls through old photos, the way a random song can ruin an entire day. See, men are often expected to be the rock, strong, steady, unshaken. But rocks crack too. They just do it in silence, where no one's watching. The truth is, most men never really move on. They just learn to carry the weight differently, with a smile, a joke, or another late-night workout session. And after a while, they start believing that's normal, that this is what moving on looks like. But it's not. It's surviving, not healing. And deep down, they know it. After that night, I started noticing a pattern, not just in him, but in almost every guy I knew. Break up, disappear for a while, then come back stronger, sharper, colder. It's like a silent ritual. We lose something that mattered, and then we build something new to replace it. A new routine. A new version of ourselves. But deep down, we're not building from peace. We're building from pain. And that pain becomes fuel. It pushes us to work harder, to prove we're fine, to chase success like it'll somehow erase the memories. But it never does. Because no matter how fast you run, you can't outrun something that lives inside you. So we distract ourselves with noise, with goals, with people we don't really love. We try to convince ourselves that moving forward is the same as moving on. But there's a difference. Moving forward means you've learned to live with the wound. Moving on means it's actually healed. Most of us never get to that second part. And maybe that's why so many men look calm on the outside, but feel exhausted on the inside. Because pretending to be fine is a full-time job. Time went on, and from the outside, everything looked normal again. He laughed more, worked more, posted the usual smiles that made it seem like life had moved on. But sometimes I'd catch that same distant look in his eyes, the one that said, "It's still there." And that's when I realized something painful. Heartbreak doesn't always fade. It just changes form. It becomes the way you hesitate before trusting someone new. The way you keep conversations shallow so you won't get too attached. The way you pull away the moment someone gets close enough to see who you really are. Pain has a funny way of teaching you things you never wanted to learn. It teaches you how to smile while you're bleeding inside, how to act strong when all you want to do is collapse, how to look over it, even when you're not. He told me once, "I'm fine now." And maybe he believed it. But I could tell it wasn't fine. It was just quiet. Sometimes the silence after heartbreak isn't peace. It's exhaustion. A tired kind of acceptance that says, "I guess this is just who I am now." And maybe that's what growing up really is. Learning to carry pain without showing it. Sometimes I think about that night in the car. How years of silence turned into tears, and how much lighter he looked afterwards. Even just a little. It made me wonder how many men walk around like that every day. Smiling, joking, working hard, while carrying pain no one ever sees. Maybe that's the real story here. Not about heartbreak itself, but about how we handle it. How men are taught to move on when what they really need is to heal. Because closure isn't about forgetting someone. It's about forgiving yourself for what never got the ending you hoped for. It's about accepting that sometimes the story doesn't close. It just stops. And yet the question always lingers. Do we ever truly move on? Or do we just learn to live with the memories that never left us? Maybe time doesn't heal everything. Maybe it just teaches us how to hide the scars better.